Immanuel Kant, one of history's most influential philosophers, dedicated his life to understanding how humans could lead ethical, rational lives without relying on the structures of traditional religion. Born on April 22, 1724, in Königsberg, a Baltic city in Prussia, now Kaliningrad, Russia, Kant grew up in a humble family. His father was a saddle maker, and his mother, a deeply pious woman, instilled in him a sense of discipline and morality. Though the Kant family struggled financially, young Immanuel learned to embrace simplicity, a trait that stayed with him throughout his life. It wasn't until his 50s that he secured a full professorship at the University of Königsberg, finally achieving a modest level of financial stability. Kant's upbringing was steeped in the strict pietist branch of Lutheranism, a Christian movement that emphasized personal piety and moral rigor. While this shaped his early years, Kant later moved away from conventional religious beliefs. However, he never dismissed religion's value entirely. He recognized how it had given his parents the strength to endure life's hardships and fostered a sense of community. This duality, appreciating religion's social utility while rejecting its dogmatic claims, became a cornerstone of his philosophical journey. Physically, Kant was far from imposing. He was frail, slight, and self-admittedly unattractive, standing at just over 5 feet tall with a sunken chest due to a congenital condition. Yet, he possessed a vibrant social spirit. Kant loved company and was known for hosting lively dinner parties, much to the chagrin of some colleagues who thought he partied too much. He had a unique approach to dinner conversations, dividing them into 3 distinct phases. First, guests would exchange recent gossip and anecdotes. Then, they'd engage in deep, reflective discussions on a serious topic. And finally, the evening would end with humor and laughter to ensure everyone left in high spirits. These gatherings reflected Kant's belief in balancing intellectual rigor with human connection. Kant lived his entire life in Königsberg, rarely venturing beyond its borders. His neighbors often remarked on his predictability. He took daily walks at the same time each day, so punctual that locals set their clocks by his routine. This disciplined lifestyle extended to his work. Kant wrote during the Enlightenment, a transformative period in the late 17th and 18th centuries marked by a shift toward reason, science, and secular thought. In his 1784 essay, What is Enlightenment?, Kant defined this era as humanity's emergence from self-imposed immaturity, urging people to dare to know and think for themselves rather than blindly following tradition or authority. While Kant celebrated the decline of religious dogma, he was deeply concerned about its implications. He believed humans were naturally prone to selfishness and moral corruption, a view that contrasted with the Enlightenment's often optimistic take on human nature. This pessimism drove his life's mission, to establish a system of ethics grounded in reason rather than divine command. In his book, Religion Within the Bounds of Mere Reason, 1793, Kant argued that while historical religions were flawed in their teachings, they addressed a vital human need to promote ethical behavior, a need that persisted in a secular world. One of Kant's most famous contributions to philosophy is the Categorical Imperative, introduced in his 1785 work, Groundwork for the Metaphysics of Morals. This principle offers a universal test for moral actions. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. In simpler terms, Kant suggested imagining how a behavior would impact the world if everyone adopted it, and whether you'd be okay being on the receiving end. For example, stealing a small item from work might seem harmless, but if everyone stole, society would collapse under mistrust and chaos. Similarly, lying to a friend might feel justified, but if everyone lied, truth itself would lose meaning. The categorical imperative forces us to step outside our personal biases and consider the broader consequences of our actions. Kant also reframed this idea in a second formulation. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always at the same time as an end and never merely as a means. This was Kant's secular alternative to the Christian principle of loving thy neighbor. It emphasizes respecting others as individuals, with their own goals and dignity, not as tools for our own purposes. For Kant, this wasn't just a moral guideline, it was the voice of our rational minds, what we'd all agree to if we thought clearly and impartially. Beyond ethics, Kant made groundbreaking contributions to metaphysics, particularly in his understanding of space and time. In his seminal work, Critique of Pure Reason, 1781, he proposed that space and time are not objective realities, but frameworks our minds use to organize sensory experiences. This Copernican revolution in philosophy shifted the focus from the external world to the human mind's role in shaping reality, a concept that influenced later thinkers like Einstein, whose theory of relativity echoes Kant's ideas about the relativity of perception. Kant's philosophy also extended to politics. He redefined freedom, challenging the libertarian idea that it meant doing whatever one pleased. For Kant, true freedom meant acting in alignment with our rational nature, not our fleeting desires. He famously wrote, "We are free only when we act in accordance with our own best natures, and slaves when ruled by our passions." A good government, in Kant's view, doesn't just maximize liberty, it helps citizens become more rational, embodying the collective best self of society. This idea resonates today in debates about balancing individual freedoms with societal good, such as in public health mandates or education policies. Interestingly, Kant also had a deep appreciation for art and beauty, which he explored in his 1790 work, Critique of Judgment. He saw beauty, whether in a blooming rose, a soaring bird, or a well-crafted painting, as a bridge between our rational and emotional selves. Unlike material pleasures, which often fuel selfish desires, beauty inspires a disinterested joy that connects us to a universal sense of humanity. Kant believed art could serve a moral purpose, offering vivid symbols of ethical ideals to guide us. For instance, a painting of a serene landscape might remind us of nature's harmony, encouraging us to seek peace in our own lives. This perspective underscores Kant's holistic philosophy, where even aesthetics ties back to his ethical project. Kant's personal quirks also reveal the man behind the ideas. He was a hypochondriac, constantly worried about his health despite living to the age of 79, a respectable lifespan for the 18th century. He avoided sweating, believing it weakened the body, and often wrapped himself in layers even during summer walks. Kant also had a peculiar habit of staring at a specific church tower during his daily walks, using it as a focal point to clear his mind, a practice some biographers link to his methodical approach to philosophy. When Kant died on February 12, 1804, in Königsberg, he left behind a legacy that continues to shape modern thought. His ideas influenced fields as diverse as ethics, political theory, metaphysics, and even cognitive science. Philosophers like Hegel, Schopenhauer, and Rawls built on his work, and his emphasis on reason over tradition laid the groundwork for secular ethics in a post-religious world. Yet Kant's writing style was notoriously dense. His sentences often stretched over half a page, packed with abstract terms. Despite this, his core project remains profoundly relevant. How can we strengthen our rational, moral selves to overcome our innate flaws and build a better world? Kant's life offers a powerful lesson in the pursuit of wisdom. From his modest beginnings to his relentless intellectual quest, he showed that reason, discipline, and a deep concern for humanity can lead to ideas that transcend time. His work challenges us to think critically, act ethically, and find beauty in the world, not as a luxury, but as a vital reminder of our shared human potential.